I don't see how long this lasts. Last week it took 3 tries to get it done. Today technically it took 2 because I was trying to do something else. I was typing in the stuff and then it just sort of X'd out and had to restart the whole thing again. But we'll see how that works out. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 606, 2 Days in the Valley. It is 11:17 p.m. on May 10th, 2025, day before Mother's Day. May is moving right along. Been a busy day already for me after a really shitty work week. Actually, a really shitty work month for the most part. The last 4 weeks it's been extraordinarily shitty at work. But we're not here to talk about that. Today was very busy. We're going to my in-laws' house for Mother's Day tomorrow. And we're going to see my sister-in-laws and their family and stuff like that. We haven't seen some of them since Christmas, so it'll be nice to see that. It's going to be a nice day also. We don't have to go till 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so it'll be nice. It'll be nicer. Good morning to rest up and do stuff. My daughter is presently hacking up a lung right now, so hopefully she'll feel better. If not, oh well. I got to wrap my wife's stuff, and I might have to go back out and get something because I don't think I got enough stuff for her. I went to the grocery store late, I know, today. Decimated. There was no Mother's Day cards whatsoever. There was some, but there were some that we already got for our families and stuff like that. So it was just absolutely decimated. So because I have a mother and a stepmother and a mother-in-law, my mother really was not going to be too keen, I think, in going to the in-law party tomorrow. I picked her up and brought her up here for lunch at the Reisterstown Diner, which we haven't been to for a while, with my wife and son. My daughter was up at camp doing some management training. And then we took her to the Blooming Arts Fest, which is an event that happens in Reisterstown every Mother's Day, every Saturday before Mother's Day. The last 3 years, it's been raining on this weekend, so they've had to move the festival inside to the elementary school over there, and it's not as much fun. My wife and son had been working it for the scouts, try to get people to sign up for stuff. But today was a gorgeous day, and so it was the first time, as I said, in 3 years that I was back outside where it belonged on the grounds of the middle school, which is right across the street from the elementary school. So that was kind of nice. So we walked around there for a little bit. Not as many vendors as there used to be, and also the Glendon Gardens, which is really the part of the Bloomin' Art Fest where they have a massive gardening display. We're not there, so there was very minimal gardening stuff and a lot more jewelry, artisan stuff. But they're artisans; they needed to do that stuff. I found a really nice photography. Not to card out already. Photography site, picked up some photos there, and my wife picked up some presents for stuff, and we got my mom some stuff also for her Mother's Day. And then after I dropped her back off at Towson, I drove up to Hunt Valley to a place called Valley View Farms, which has the world's greatest Christmas store that'll start rolling in here about August, September, once the planting season is done. And lots of flowers and stuff like that, and bought my stepmother something for Mother's Day because they live right up there near Valley View. So I went over to see her. She has been fighting pneumonia for about 4 weeks now. So she had breast cancer, so she's in remission now, so doesn't have it anymore. But it absolutely devastated her ability to heal. So it's hard. I mean, she can still heal, but it takes a really long time. But it's her immune system is compromised. So it took her a little while to get better, but hoping that she does get better. She does see the doctor on Tuesday, I think my dad said. So that'll be kind of fun. Oh, they knocked the pumpkin down, so it looked like there was something missing up there. Rip pumpkin. No, it's right there. Just can't see it right now. Anyway, so then I came back home and we had dinner at the house, and then went upstairs and worked on this, and I'm down here. So that's pretty good. The reason why it's called 2 Days in the Valley was because Friday I had to drive my daughter up to camp. And then in order to get to her camp, we drive through Hunt Valley. And then I drove through Hunt Valley by myself coming back last night. And then I was up in Hunt Valley again today, which was fine. Then I was in Hunt Valley last weekend also. So I'm all over Hunt Valley. So it's only about 20 minutes from our house, 30 minutes from the house. So it's not too bad. So that's pretty cool. So that's why it's named 2 Days in the Valley. It's also named after the movie that debuted Charlize Theron, who was topless for most of it, which was awesome, but that's besides the point. Anyway, tomorrow, as I said, is Mother's Day proper, so happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And hopefully you'll have a good day. It's going to be beautiful weather here again in Baltimore tomorrow. It's going to start raining again during the week, but it should be okay. But we're trudging along. We're getting close to shitty summer season. But a lot of stuff to look forward to. Memorial Day weekend's coming up in a couple weeks, and my daughter will be graduating high school, and my birthday, and then my week off when the kids and my wife are at summer camp. Well, I'll be watching a ton of movies, so when I do my show for that week, July 4th weekend, I'll probably have lots of reviews of movies, or I might have to do a whole show about them. So, may as well get on to this story. So, we can get to bed. So, obviously, you can see I'm yawning, so hopefully we're going here. One of my favorite shows of all time was Northern Exposure. And it was revealed this week that Rob Morrow, who played Dr. Joel Fleischman, and Janine Turner, who played Maggie, will be, I forget her name, last name, O'Connell, Maggie O'Connell, will be starting a podcast where they'll be rewatching Northern Exposure and then commenting about it. Now you see that all the time. The Smallville crew have done it, and there are a few other, the 90210 crew have done it. So it just seemed like an obvious thing to do. So to get Rob Morrow and Janine Turner to do it is actually really good because they're the two main leads. So that'll be a fun one to watch or listen to. So I'll have to check that out as well. Sydney Sweeney's her next movie, I think, which will be coming out sooner than later because she's got 2 coming out in August, but we haven't seen any trailers for it yet. Here's the first trailer I've seen. There's a movie called Echo Valley. It's up her wheelhouse. She's always been into her movies. She does a lot more thrillers and horror films. This is a thriller with Julianne Moore and Kyle MacLachlan, and she's a girl who always gets into trouble, whatever. And apparently, I think from what we've gathered from the trailer, which is not telling a lot. You see what we see on the trailer, but it might not be exactly what the story's about. Sydney Sweeney's character either kills her abusive boyfriend or accidentally kills him or whatever, and goes to Mom, played by Julianne Moore, to try to help her through this. And she does by getting the body and throwing it into the pond on their land or something like that. And then things start going downhill. Obviously, someone saw it happen, or she needs to move the body for some reason or some whatever, and then it's going to get into a little bit of an issue like that. So the Echo Valley trailer is out now. So check that out for yourself. Eli Roth will be directing The Ice Cream Man, which is his most terrifying and evil film that he's got coming up here soon. So it was announced this week. Godzilla Kong 3 has a subtitle now. It's now called Godzilla Kong Supernova. So my son is postulating that potentially we could get Space Godzilla, which would be really cool. That's due out in 2027. Former New Orleans Saints quarterback Derek Carr has called it a career. He's retired. So good on him. Scarlett Johansson and Miles Teller are set to join Adam Driver in Paper Tiger. Mikey Madsen has her first role after her Oscar win. She's joining Kirsten Dunst for, of all things, a supernatural thriller called Reptilia about mermaids. So that's an interesting choice for a Oscar award-winning actress. So, okay. Don Da Don, one of my wife and daughter's favorite new animes, and one of the more popular ones out there now, is their second season will be on Netflix on July 3rd. Dev Patel has signed his new period piece, The Peasant, with A24. It's about a peasant in the 1300s who has to go all John Wick on people. So there we go. Oh, yeah. Last week, we were talking about, a couple weeks ago, actually, it was. We were talking about the death of the Pope. And I thought conclave was like immediately after his death. It's not. They have like a week of mourning and then bury him, and then they do conclave. Conclave was earlier this week, and it was a real quick one. We have a new pope. It's Pope Leo the 14th. Yep, Pope Leo the 14th. He is the first ever American pope, which is kind of misnomer. He was born in America, was born in Chicago, was raised there for a while till he was like in his early when he started his religious journey. Then once he started his religious journey, he spent most of his time in Peru. He is a liberal pope, similar to Pope Francis. So the MAGA people are absolutely losing their shit because they claim to be followers of Jesus Christ and the Bible, but this man, the Pope Francis and now Pope Leo, who are only going by what's in the Bible and what you should be following as a good Christian, is fucking with the MAGA's heads because they're not good Christians. They do not believe in the Bible. They just use it as a way to prove that they are better than everybody, even though they claim that they are God-fearing, stuff like that, but they completely ignore everything in the Bible. And the popes don't. Popes talk about treating people equally and helping the poor and stuff like that. It's all in the fucking Bible. But the MAGA people are like, oh no, he's a liberal Marxist, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you guys. You have no idea what you're talking about, you dumb shits. So that's good that we're going to have another one. We were afraid that we might get a more conservative one, but nope. That's good. Good to see that. The big news out of Conclave, though, was that a family of seagulls actually became stars of Conclave. It's a big deal in Vatican City, so there were people out in the streets waiting and singing and praying and stuff like that. So there were miles of people out there, but people who don't want to stay out in Vatican City all day or wanted to go home and wanted to keep an eye on the chimney to see if white smoke comes out. They had a webcam place there for a 24-hour, view of that chimney, so that if there's ever white smoke, they know that there's a new pope and they can celebrate. But where the chimney is, a family of seagulls, a mommy seagull, daddy seagull, and their new baby have taken up roost there. So people were watching the conclave chimney 24-hour film thing to watch what the seagulls would do, and they'd be walking around and doing stuff, and the little chick's a little fuzzy chick, and right before they announced the pope, you can see the little chick walking on the rooftop, and then the smoke comes out, and you can hear the cheers of the people in Vatican City, and the male seagull thinks it's for him, so he jumps up to a higher level and like flaps his wings, so it's really kind of funny. So it's always kind of clever to see that kind of thing. We got our first look at Teela in the Masters of the Universe live action movie, plus some more of He-Man wearing a pink shirt. And I started thinking about, why is he wearing a pink shirt? And then I remembered when he is Prince Adama, he wears that pink and white sort of outfit, and it's a spitting image of what he's supposed to be wearing. We have not officially seen Nicholas, whatever his last name is, again, maybe right now, as the bare-chested He-Man yet. We've only seen him in the pink and white shirt, so we'll see how that goes. That's coming out next year, I believe, also. Stick trailer, Apple TV's newest sports comedy, feel-good sports comedy, trying for a Ted Lasso feel for it. It's set to debut June 4th. Stars Owen Wilson in a golf comedy. It was a very just quick teaser for it. We'll probably get a full trailer on that as we get closer to that. Last week, I told you about the failed Soviet Venus probe that was going to be entering Earth's orbit today, but nobody knew it was going to crash because it's not a controlled crash landing. And the area that it could have crashed in was overpopulated areas. Well, no need to fear, dears. The probe actually crash landed in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Did not affect any people, maybe killed some fish, but did not hurt or damage any people, whatever. So that was sort of a uh, non-issue, non-exciting thing. So still kind of cool though. And researchers found a page of a rare medieval manuscript masquerading as a cover and stapled into the binding of another book. Turns out it's a never before seen story involving King Arthur and Merlin. So kind of cool to see that. Virginia Tech, where my brother-in-law Mike, who I haven't seen since Christmas, I'll see him tomorrow. Their football team's entrance song is "Enter Sandman" by Metallica, and it is a huge college thing. When college football started up again after COVID, Virginia Tech was one of the first games to play, and the stands just were erupting with "Enter Sandman" when the game started, and so it became a big celebratory thing of like college football's back, baby, stuff like that. So Metallica apparently is on tour right now, and they went to Lane Stadium, which is in Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech proper is actually in the Virginia Tech campus. And the crowd was all there. Don't know if it's all Virginia Tech people, but I was assuming it was, because as soon as they started playing Enter Sandman, the entire stadium erupted with cheers and clapping and pounding of their feet. And it was so much noise that it caused a quiver on the Richter scale. That's only happened one other real time, and that was up in Seattle a few years ago, in the Seattle Seahawks, who were like a 7-9 football team who made the playoffs just because they won their division at 7-9, and had a home game because they won their division against a team that had a much better record, but were in a division that someone had a better record than them. They had to travel to Seattle, but everyone thought that Seattle was going to get wiped out in the first round, but they ended up winning in the first round. And when they put the game away, the crowd was so loud that it again caused a Richter scale spike up there. So it's always neat when that sort of stuff kind of happens. Speaking of Richter scale, a earthquake hit Tennessee today, a 4.1 earthquake. So earthquakes have been happening a lot more recently. A lot of earthquake scientists are seeing massive numbers of earthquakes along the western coast, and they are predicting that potentially could lead to a underwater volcano that's off the coast of the west coast to erupt very shortly. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. But there had been a massive number of west coast earthquakes as well. This one though was Tennessee. There's a fault line there. It happens periodically, but it was 4.1 for Tennessee is a lot. So kind of interesting there. We got a new Materialist trailer. Pedro Pascal, Chris Evans, and Dakota Johnson. Looks like that's A24, I think. Looks like a romantic drama sort of thing where she plays a matchmaker whose slacker boyfriend's played by Chris Evans, and they break up or something like that. And then she feels like she's never going to get married. And then she runs into Pedro Pascal, who they start a relationship. He's a rich guy. And then Chris Evans tries to change his ways to win her over. So there's that sort of thing going on. So it looks okay. We also got a quick Eddington teaser trailer set during the COVID era in the Deep South with Republican conservatives who despise masking and stuff like that. It's going to start off some sort of war down there in that little town between the people who are trying to mask up and save themselves from COVID and the morons who said masks don't help any. Brendan Fraser, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Annie Murphy, Elizabeth Hurley, and Josh Gad are set to lead the voice cast of Tubi's animated film Breaking Bear. I don't know if that's going to be a parody of Breaking Bad, but with bears. But that is the voice cast there. Death this week, we have director James Foley, who directed Glengarry Glen Ross. Oops, that's not what I'm looking for. I want to say he directed No Way Out, but I don't think he did. He directed 2 of the 50 Shades of Grey movies. There he is. So a director, there we go. Here we go. His filmography: At Close Range, Who's That Girl, Glengarry Glen Ross, The Chamber. That's one I remember him from. Fear, The Corruptor, 50 Shades Darker, 50 Shades Freed. And there's a few of those. Those are the famous ones. He also directed episodes of Twin Peaks, Hannibal, directed 12 episodes of House of Cards, which was filmed here in Maryland, and directed an episode of Billions. He also directed 3 Madonna music videos, Who's That Girl, Live to Tell, Papa Don't Preach, and True Blue. Foley was also the best man at Madonna's wedding to Sean Penn. So that was interesting. Live to Tell is a great song. So director did a music video for a song in a movie that he didn't direct. So interesting. No, I can't do that. That's funny then. All right, anything else? I'm just grabbing a look while I'm on here. Nope, no stories. Mace Windu is in Fortnite now, continuing the Star Wars storyline. So there we go. Got another Vic Royale today, so that's good. So James Foley passed away this week. Anniversary Twister debuted 29 years ago this week. So that's a good summer film there. All right, next page. The NFL schedule is set to debut on May 14th, which is this upcoming Wednesday. And already you're starting to get a little bit of rumors of stuff that's coming out. I'm taking them all with a grain of salt because I got screwed a couple of years ago where it looked like that they said that the Ravens were going to get a Thanksgiving evening game. Turned out not to be true. So since then, I've been sort of wary of this. But the newest rumor now has my other team, the Washington Commanders, going to Spain to play the Dolphins on November 16th. So we will see about that. Another one of my favorite shows that I watched the first season of this year, because there's only one season right now on Netflix, was A Man on the Inside with Ted Danson from the creators of Parks and Rec, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and The Good Place. And the season 1 was excellent, and it got renewed for a second season, which will probably be out this fall because they've just started production on season 2. And it moves the storyline from a retirement home to a college. And the cast has been announced. Mary Steenburgen, or the guest cast, I should say. Mary Steenburgen, who is Ted Danson's real-life wife, is in it. Max Greenfield, Gary Cole, Jason Mantzoukas, Michaela Conlin, Madison Ha, and David Strahan have joined the cast for the second season. So it was a very entertaining show. It had moments where I teared up a little bit, and it's good that they're employing older actors for these sort of things. And Ted Danson's no spring chicken. He can still control a sitcom and knows how to do it. So, excuse me. So, a great show. If you haven't checked it out, and season 2 is set probably to debut. I would say probably sometime this fall. We'll probably see it since it's done like a typical sitcom, so they can film. It was like 10 episodes, only about a half hour long. They can film them real quick, not really need to edit all that much, and they can get it out in time for later this year. So I would assume we'd probably see it close to November, probably. Excuse me. We got our first look at The Long Walk Home, or the Long Walk trailer, which is based on a Richard Bachman story. Richard Bachman is the pen name for Stephen King when he was starting out, and most people thought that it was a film that could not be, or a story that could not be adapted to film. But Francis Lawrence Lawrence, who did the last 1, 2, 3, 4 Hunger Games movies, and is doing. I don't think he's doing this next one. Directed this, and it stars Mark Hamill as the big star in this, and a bunch of young actors in it. And basically, this is a story that came out in the late 70s, and the premise is very Squid Game-ish. A bunch of young men are forced to walk on this road. I don't know for how long or whatever, and I guess till it ends, and then they win some money or something. I'm not exactly sure. But if they stop and linger or rest or whatever, they will be shot and killed. So they have to keep walking. They can't. They can rest for like a second or two, but if they stay too long, they will be shot and killed because they are being followed by people in tanks and guns, and members of the military. It's a bit more vicious of a story than you expected. The first trailer is really giving it a look that they were doing, that they're doing justice to the story. So I was not aware that the Muppets have been out for 70 years, which doesn't make a lot of sense because that would be the 1950s, 1955, actually. I mean, that could have been when Jim Henson started thinking about it, but I don't think they really started getting into mainstream until the 60s, so that would make it to like 60 years. But apparently the 70 years of the Muppets is this week. There's a couple stories about it. NBC is absolutely decimating their television lineup. Night Court, Suits LA, Foul, Lopez versus Lopez, and one other one I can't read, have all been canceled and not renewed. And it sucks for Night Court because they ended Night Court on a cliffhanger for season 4, which brought back Simon Helberg, who played Melissa Rauch's husband on Big Bang Theory forever, and he was coming back to play her husband as a different in a different character, and playing her husband in this show. Which everyone thought, she was dating people and stuff like that. Why does she still have a husband? So that was where the cliffhanger was. But we're never going to find out what happened. This upcoming Tuesday, we are getting Captain America Brave New World on Blu-ray. So I'll have to pick that up. That'll be great. The Minecraft movie, which has been a huge success, is at $900 million right now. So it's still $100 million shy of $1 billion. Don't know if it's going to make it because I think it's out of movie theaters now. Will be hitting Blu-ray on June 24th, so that is the week before my vacation. So I'll probably pick that up and maybe watch it during my vacation rewatch of stuff. One of my favorite 80s movies, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year, from director Savage Steve Holland with John Cusack, Better Off Dead, is getting a 4K Blu-ray release in August or September, one of those two, which is really cool because I need to upgrade my copy. And speaking of that real quick, I know there's a story I have a little bit further down the line, but Billy Zane's, it was decent but not great. The Phantom is also getting a 4K release, which is weird. It was an okay film, and when you show it back to back with like The Rocketeer and The Shadow, you could have gotten a really good sort of old pulp sort of hero type of film group, and maybe gone for a better version of the Phantom. It was okay, but it wasn't great. But that's getting, oh, there it is. It's getting a 4K release also, which is really odd. But the Better Off Dead one's awesome. Sounds like a great idea. Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, the new live action film from Peter Jackson, or not Peter Jackson, it's directed by the actor who plays Gollum, is set for release December 17th, 2027. So they better start filming it soon if they're going to do it. We got our first look at Peacemaker Season 2. We got the first trailer for that, set to debut August 21st. Tim Meadows joins the cast. And it looks like Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner makes an appearance in this as well. So that'll be after Superman, so it would make sense to see him in something else after Superman. So there you go. We finally have a name for the Nicholas Sparks M. Night Shyamalan mashup. They're working together on a story called Remain. And it's going to be really weird how they're going to be doing this. So Nicholas Spark is a kind of a romantic drama writer, wrote The Notebook and stuff like that. And M. Night, we all know M. Night stuff, supernatural thrillers and with twist endings and stuff like that. So they are collaborating on sort of this supernatural love story sort of thing. And Nicholas Sparks is writing the novel for it, and it's going to be released this year. It's going to be released on October 7th. And M. Night's movie is set to be released August 23rd of next year, 2026. Now, it's said to be an adaptation of the book. It uses the same characters and the same concept, but it's going to, how they pronounce it, but will be based on their individual mediums. So they will, it's going to be a little bit different, but the way that, Nicholas Sparks is the writer and M. Night is the director. So it's going to focus more, the book is going to focus more on his Nicholas Sparks' strengths, and the movie's going to more on Shyamalan's strengths. So it's kind of a weird little thing. Jake Gyllenhaal, Phoebe Devner, and Ashley Walter are all set to be in this movie. And basically it just sounds like a supernatural love story about a guy whose sister dies, who claims she could see ghosts. So then he goes to this town and meets this woman who he falls in love with, but then there's something mysterious about her, and he's got to figure out what it is. And the fact that she could be a ghost, stuff like that. I don't know, but we'll see. But it's still kind of an interesting sort of mashup there. So Hala Yakula is set to star in The Evil Dead Burn, which is the sequel to the Evil Dead remake that came out recently. Benedict Wong, Jacob Elordi, Margaret Qualley, Josh Brolin, and Guy Pearce have all been cast in Ridley Scott's new film, The Dog Stars. So that's an interesting cast there. We got our first look at the Survivors trailer. It's set to debut June 6th on Netflix. And basically a young woman's death unravels the town's secrets, very similar to sort of a Twin Peaks-esque sort of storyline. Zero Protocol, Rebecca Hall set to star in a zombie action film. Sonequa Martin Green joins Boston Blue, the Blue Blood spinoff with Donnie Wahlberg. Fallout Season 2 has finished production of their live-action series, so that will probably not be out this year, but it could be out early 2026. We got our first trailer for Snack Shack, a coming-of-age film. Looks okay. Oh yeah, a Kentucky boy uses his mom's credit card to buy 70,000 lollipops, Dum Dum lollipops, worth cost over about $4,000 to buy it. So interesting. Krispy Kreme and McDonald's have suspended their partnership. Didn't last long, but it has been suspended now. China is unveiled the world's first ever AI-powered hospital with 42 AI doctors. I don't know if I would trust my life to AI doctors, but okay. Black Sabbath Ballet. Those two words just don't, or three words I should say, but those two things don't seem to match up. Black Sabbath is a heavy metal band, and ballet just doesn't seem right. But there is a Black Sabbath ballet. Shout out to my friend William at work. He was the one who told me about that, and then I did some digging and found out a little bit more about it. Apparently, it's coming to Baltimore, I think, because he said that I think he's listening to 98 Rock on his headphones, and they keep talking about it. So I think it's coming to Baltimore. Dr. Pepper, Tic Tacs, and Butterfinger Marshmallow are set to debut this fall. It's never too early to talk about fall because fall is so awesome. Nestle Crunch is also bringing back their white chocolate Crunch bar, which hasn't been out for a little while, just in time for Halloween. Probably have it wrapped up as like a ghost bar or some BS like that. Now, a lot of people have not been talking about this, but Marvel's sort of getting a resurgence with Thunderbolts. They're won the week last week with a $76 million domestic take. Looks like it's going to make another $30 million this week and be a number one for the second week in a row. So that's good. But that's not. But so we have that. So Marvel's starting to pick up a little bit more steam again. But they are not talking about. They have a TV show debuting June 24th called Ironheart, based on characters introduced in Black Panther. What was it, The Age of Wakanda or The Eyes of Wakanda or something like that? It's the Black Panther 2 sequel. And that Ryan Coogler, who directed, who is now the big star now in Hollywood now with Sinners doing so well, crossing $200 million domestically this week. He's producing it, but Disney Plus has not shown a trailer for it or really pushed it that much, so we don't know if they have no faith in it or what's going on with that, but it is coming. It is set to be out, and hopefully they will see some stuff on it soon because it's an interesting character from Black Panther 2, and it's an interesting TV show. It's different and could be a pretty good one. It's supposed it's going to introduce Mephisto to the world and also has a great villain by the name of the Hood, who's been a great comic character that they're bringing to the show. So I'm trying to get the word out there also that Ironheart will be debuting on Disney Plus June 24th. Hopefully they will be dropping a trailer on us soon. Then we got three kind of weird stories all sort of connected. Not connected, but the convicted felon who's in the White House right now referred to Mattel, the company that makes toys, as country because he's a fucking moron. Meth raccoon. A raccoon was found in the front seat of a woman's car who was pulled over at a traffic stop holding a meth pipe. Obviously not the raccoons, but still he was holding a meth pipe, and it's always funny. So meth raccoon is your next cocaine bear. And there's a vagina alarm clock. You jam the alarm clock up your pussy and set the alarm, and then when the alarm goes off, it'll vibrate and supposedly give you an orgasm to wake you up. So awesome sauce. Anniversaries this week. Friday the 13th, the original movie, debuted 45 years ago this week. And the original Stand, the TV series, which was phenomenal with Gary Sinise, Miguel Ferrer, Rob Lowe, Bill Fagerback, and what is her name? Shoot, I forget her name. But it was... The other casting wasn't nearly as good. The casting of Jamie Sheridan as the Walking Dude was okay. Molly Ringwald was terribly cast as Franny, and Parker Lewis himself was terribly cast as the bad guy. Max Headroom was involved in it as well. I forget the actor's name with that one as well. They had a good cast, and it was a good show, with the exception of some of the casting. But it was the casting faux pas were able to handle because the rest of the cast was phenomenal. We're able to support them really, really well. And it really brought Gary Sinise into the world and also gave Miguel Ferrer a really good way to shine as well. Deaths this week. One of my favorite baseball players, believe it or not, who was not an Oriole, Chet Lemon, died. He was a Detroit Lion superstar, one of my favorite baseball players. He passed away this week. And I'm not an NBA fan, but supposedly this is one of the great one of the NBA greats. Kevin Thomas passed away this week as well. Sad about Chet Lemon. I always liked the name, and as a kid, I loved him. Speaking of that, Frosted Lemon Cheerios is a new Cheerios flavor out there really soon. So, Frosted Lemon is interesting. Jolie Richardson is set to join Downton Abbey movie. Utah's hockey club now has an official name. They are now going to be the Utah Mammoth. that debuts next year. This was the last year to be the Utah Hockey Club, but next year they will be the Utah Mammoth. I think it's a decent hockey type name, and there you go. Rennie Harlan is back. His Strangers trilogy seems to be going strong. The second film is set to debut in September, I believe. He also has in the works a movie called Black Tides, which is based on the true stories of the more recent orca attacks, the killer whale orca attacks. He's going to make a killer whale kind of movie, orca movie. So that'd be pretty neat, I guess. Jean-Claude Van Damme, who is a piece of shit anyway, I guess, and hasn't been relevant for a while, has decided it's time to kind of make fun of some stuff. So he's going to be bringing his brand of self-defense, I don't know exactly what he uses, to a action comedy called The Gardener, where he plays a gardener that happens to know all these martial arts. Then he has to help save somebody. It's like the beekeeper and all that regular stuff. Jai Courtney plays a shark-obsessed serial killer in the Shudder film Dangerous Animals, set to debut June 6th. It's a fairly effective trailer. It's about a serial killer who kidnaps young women, puts them on his boat, and ties them up, and his boat takes them out into the middle of the ocean at night, and either drops blood in the water to attract sharks or impales his victims so that their blood drips into the ocean, and then he throws the bodies into the ocean. The sharks eat the bodies, so there's no evidence of the bodies. And it's an interesting serial killer. And he's obsessed with sharks also, so it's kind of an interesting serial killer idea. So there you go. Christopher Smith is set to film a reboot of his own film he made in 2004 called Creep. So that's kind of okay when a reboot is done by the same person who did it originally. He made the movie in 2004. 21 years later, he was looking at it as like, I could do this better. And so he's going to reboot it, or it was his best thing and everybody forgot about it, so he wants people to remember it. But instead of re-releasing it, he's just going to redo it and get people's attention for that way. The Golden Globes have added Best Podcast. I mean, TV really isn't doing that much now, and most of the TV shows that win the awards are streaming shows, so why not? Anthony Mackie shared a video on a location shoot for Doomsday, which is in the middle of a snowy mountainous area, which a lot of people are believing is going to be Lativeria. And there was another picture that I don't know if it was photoshopped or if it was something that was actually released. I didn't see it. Was Anthony Mackie was standing next to a woman that looks like Storm from the back. So take that with a grain of salt. But Anthony Mackie did actually film a set video, or not set video, a on location video in the mountains with snow for Doomsday, and I'm assuming it's probably Lativeria because it makes sense. Amy Poehler is reteaming with Parks and Rec's creator Mike Schur, who's also did A Man on the Inside and has done a really bunch of good shows and is pretty good at it, for a new show on Peacock, which sucks. That's going to be on Peacock because we don't have Peacock. But it's called Dig, and it's about a group of women, archaeologist women, who are doing a dig in Rome, and they uncover something that could change the course of history forever. So it becomes ground zero for conspiracies and stuff like that. So interesting premise. Amy Poehler's a great cast, and Mike Schur knows how to do his stuff. So it doesn't sound like much, but they're going to turn it into something really good. We get our first Yellowstone, well, not our first, but our first actual Yellowstone sort of spinoff. The rest have been sort of prequels to Yellowstone. This is an actual one using a character from Yellowstone being spun off into their own show. Y Marshals, starring Luke Grimes, who's reprising his role from Yellowstone, will get his own show now. I'm not sure if Taylor Sheridan is involved. Probably in some form or another, he probably is. The Thunderbolts director, Jake Shearer, is in talks to direct the X-Men movie. I mean, why not? You've created a pretty good movie, and you're getting really good reviews, so why not? And Thunderbolts has officially rechristened themselves as the New Avengers. That's kind of a spoiler. It's a new marketing ploy because we know at the Thunderbolts movie that it was actually, they're called the New, which is why there's a little check, a little thing next to it in the title. So to change the name from Thunderbolts to New Avengers, they've been shooting videos. They shot a video of Sebastian Stan going to posters of Thunderbolts at like bus stands and stuff like that, and tearing off the Thunderbolts name, or rather putting in a new poster that says New Avengers, the exact same one, and doing that. A giant billboard in Hollywood, they tore off the Thunderbolts and put New Avengers up there for the billboard there. So they are really jumping into that. And adults, we got our first look at Adults, which is a FX series. First trailer looks stupid, to be honest. That's just me. We got our first trailer at Honey Don't, set to debut August 22nd, from Ethan Coen without his brother. That stars Aubrey Plaza, Margaret Qualley, Charlie Day, and Chris Evans. Chris Evans plays like the head of a cult, and Margaret Qualley is a lesbian detective who's going around trying to investigate a crime, and Aubrey Plaza plays someone who can help her out. I think there's a love scene between the two of them, or nudity or something like that. We also get the Conjuring Last Rites trailer, the final Conjuring movie. Got our first trailer. Look at that. Matthew Broderick and Alan Ruck are set to re-team for John Turteltaub's new film, The Best Is Yet to Come. Matthew Broderick and Alan Ruck are most notoriously teamed up for Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and now it's the first time they've re-teamed in a movie. John Turteltaub is the director of While You Were Sleeping and a few other really good movies, so that's pretty good. Ragtime is returning to Broadway, so that's pretty interesting to see that. Jez Butterworth, Peter Strahan, and Jack Thurman are now set as the writers for Sam Mendes' Beatles project. We got our first look at Pamela Anderson in The Naked Gun. She looks like the femme fatale she's supposed to be. Leslie Grace is set to star in Propel, about a woman who gets swallowed by a whale and how she has to survive in the body of the whale. Liza Zayas has been cast in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Also, the newest thing is casting calls for Spider-Man Brand New Day are asking for teachers. So it looks like that he's going to be on college. And the newest rumor is that it's now going to be a prequel to Doomsday. And that's the reason why he's not going to be in Doomsday, Spider-Man, because he's going to be busy with this movie, which comes out after Doomsday. But what the rumor is that they had it set up in the third one, No Way Home, that it was going to be more of a street level Spider-Man, which is what he should be doing in the first place. And they believe that that's going to be the storyline for the new Spider-Man Brand New Day movie. But he is going to play a part in Secret War, so they're going to. My rumor that I heard is that they're going to combine both versions of the Secret Wars. And so after the events of the movie, either in a mid-credits, well, it would have to be, I don't think you could do it in a mid-credit sequence. You'd have to do it at the end of the movie to get people to go see it, because some people don't stay for the mid-credits or end credits. But you could do mid-credits or end credits, but it's a major story point, so they probably wouldn't do that then. You could have a strange building pop up in the middle of Central Park, and Spider-Man investigates it. When he investigates it, he disappears. That's what they did in the original Secret Wars comic, back when the comics were really connected really well. When they're prepping for the Secret Wars show or the movie in the 1980s, they knew who was going to be in it, so they added this sequence in the comic right before they were going to be taken away to the Secret War planet, where every team went and investigated this strange building in Central Park. So Fantastic Four did it, Spider-Man did it, Hulk did it, stuff like that, and the Avengers did it, and they all got sucked to this other world. via this building in Central Park, and that's how they escaped also. So it would make sense to have this ground level Spider-Man story, which is why he's not in Doomsday, because he's dealing with this thing right now. And then it ends with him seeing this building show up in Central Park and then disappearing into it and segueing into Secret Wars. So we'll see how that goes. Hugh Laurie is set to star in The Wanted Man, a new TV series from Apple TV Plus, along with Thondawi Newton, Finn Whitehead, and Elliot Hefferman. Theo James has joined Vince Vaughn for the gangster film The Bookie and the Bruiser. And hours before a solar eclipse, researchers discovered that spruce trees actually communicate with each other. Interesting. Anniversaries this week. The Mummy, the one with Brendan Fraser, debuted 26 years ago this week. Van Helsing debuted 21 years ago this week. And War Games debuted 42 years ago this week. And a death this week. Paul van Honeydonk, Belgian sculptor, whose fallen astronaut figurine is on the surface of the moon. So that's kind of cool. It is 12:08, which is officially Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. I'm sorry for the yawning. I need to stop doing it so late, but here we are. Companions are coming back to Fortnite. They used to have things called pets, and then people miss them, but now they're coming back with new ones, so that'll be interesting to see how that gets worked into. Talked about this again, The Old Guard, the sequel to the Netflix comic book adaptation, which has been in the can for years now. It's finally going to be released on July 2nd, July 3rd, when I'll be home on my vacations. I'll probably check it out then. But we got our first new trailer for that, and new poster for it as well. Charlize Theron and Uma Thurman makes an appearance in it as well. There's another rumor that hits me a little bit hard because I have a 7-movie Adam Strange film in my head that I've been trying to write down forever. But right now, people are saying that Will Poulter might be cast as Adam Strange. I mean, he looks the part, but no, I'm too old to do it now. But we'll see if they can do Adam Strange right. The Blues Brothers are going to get a graphic novel continuation of their story from an idea from Dan Aykroyd and Judy Belushi. So it'll be an anime, it'll be a graphic novel, so comic book, trade paperback sort of thing. Rin Sawayama to reprise her role from the John Wick movies and the Kane solo film. Skype has gone away for good after 21 years this week. We got our first look at Jake, the George Clooney Netflix film. Looks pretty decent. Set to debut in movie theaters November 14th and on Netflix December 5th. That also stars Adam Sandler. Miles Teller is set to play a Nashville singer with a secret in Possum Song from the Sing Sing director. Practical Magic 2 is set to debut September 18th, 2026. Marco Qualley, who's all over the place, is set to star in Love of Your Life for Amazon and director Rachel Morrison. The studio is set to return for season 2. That's the Seth Rogen, Catherine Hahn show. Zoe Deutsch, John Hamm, and John Slattery are set to star in a new R-rated raunchy comedy from Wet Hot Summer director. A rare two-headed snake was hatched from an egg in California and still alive. A kangaroo was spotted in Central Florida. So weird kind of animal stuff going on here. We Were Liars trailer. Didn't really watch it. Didn't pay much attention to it, but it's there. Amazon has bought the rights to produce Beekeeper 2, which was a huge hit. Peaky Blinders from Netflix. The movie has finished filming. Department Q trailer. Again, didn't watch that much. That's a new Netflix TV show coming out here soon. Remarkably Bright Creatures Wraps. I have no idea what that is, but that's coming to Netflix. Crybaby Funko Pops. Crybaby is one of John Waters' lesser-known movies that starred a young Johnny Depp in it, but apparently it's well known enough that they have Funko Pops being made for them. Chris Pine returns to a movie called Run the Night, where he stars as a guy about a man who pisses off the Danish mob and has to survive. Apparently, he is naked through most of the movie, so we'll see about that. Japan is set to build a floating city, which is kind of interesting, that an actual city that floats on the water. So that'll be interesting to see if they can do that. Dubai is set to propose a 900-foot replica of the moon set atop a 100-story building, which would house 4,000 hotel rooms, a 10,000 capacity arena, the lunar colony where you can experience what it's like to walk on the moon, and the moon replica, 900-foot moon replica, would glow at night. So it could be interesting. We'll see what happens. Kelly Cuoco has joined Sam Claflin in a new series called Vanished. It was bought by Amazon, and it will be airing on there soon. South Korea has a theme park based on poop, which I did not know. And we got our first look at the Thursday Night Murder Club, Chris Columbus's adaptation of the popular novel, set debut August 28th on Netflix. Anniversaries: Iron Man 2 debuted 15 years ago this week. The Fifth Element debuted 28 years ago this week. Captain America Civil War debuted 9 years ago this week. Kingdom in Heaven debuted 20 years ago this week. Thor debuted 14 years ago this week. 16 Candles debuted 41 years ago this week. And the only death I have on this list is Jim Smith, also known as James Carl Job, co-creator of Ren and Stimpy and a storyboard artist for The Real Ghostbusters. He passed away this week. All right, down to our last page of story. There's a little bit there, but we're down to the last bit here. Martin Sheen is set to narrate the audiobook for The Ghosts of Hiroshima. The book is coming out later this year. What's popular about that is that James Cameron has already bought the rights to make a movie about it, so he's going to take a breather from Avatar to make a movie based on this book, Ghosts of Hiroshima. The premise is the story about the guy who was visiting somebody in Hiroshima the day that the Hiroshima bomb was dropped, and he survived and got on a train and went back to his home in Nagasaki, which was bombed a few days later. So it's going to be more of a focus on the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki from the viewpoint of this person. The novel sounds interesting. So I have it on my Amazon list. Let me see when it's set to debut, according to Amazon. According to Amazon, Ghost of Hiroshima is set to debut August 5th, which is the anniversary of the bombing. Wow, that's really cold, man. Excuse me. So yeah, basically it's going to follow a bunch of people as well as the one guy who were involved in who were in Hiroshima and Nagasaki when they dropped. So interesting. Archaeologists found a 2,500-year-old tomb filled with treasure that was untouched. Those would be the last two stories. Okay, those spiders. Highest to lowest trailer, Spike Lee and Denzel Washington's newest joint from A24 and Apple TV got his first trailer. Jeffrey Wright's in it. Really don't know what it's about, but it looks kind of interesting. And whenever Spike and Denzel get together, it's always a good time. The Washington Commanders will be getting the 2027 NFL draft, so they will be doing it live from Washington, D.C. The mall, I think, is what they said it was going to be there. Robert De Niro and Jenna Ortega are set to star in David O. Russell's new film, Shutout, as about a pool hustler. Smile 3 is in development. We get our first trailer for Daryl Dixon Season 3, which is set to debut later this summer, I think. Gatorade has a Summer Blaze flavor coming out for this summer. Adam Lambert is set to play Judas to Cynthia Erivo's Jesus in the new adaptation of Jesus Christ Superstar, which sounds amazing. Kevin Pollak is set to join Tulsa King Season 3 with Sylvester Stallone. One of the best kickers of our lifetime, who was a Raven, Justin Tucker, who has recently been getting accused of sexual misconduct, has been released from the Ravens. They drafted a kicker who is a younger version of him. Will save them money also. And it's also, I think they know something we don't know. There's investigation into his sexual misconduct, which happened between 2012 and 2016. It hasn't happened since, but he has been banned from massage parlors here in the Baltimore area, even now, 10 years or so later after the events. Court case is still in session, and the NFL is still investigating, but I think the Ravens know something. Plus, he had a shitty year last year. In the games that we should have won most of the games that we lost last year, and the difference in the points in those games were missed field goals and missed extra points by Justin Tucker. So I'm not saying it's entirely was his fault, but he had a really off year, bad year, and then he got better as the year progressed. But it was time. He was getting older, and this new kid that they drafted is looking really, really good. So we'll see what happens. The way I look at it now is that this is what's going to happen. It was a Deshaun Watson sort of situation. If the NFL decides that there was misconduct, Justin Tucker will probably be suspended for a full season or maybe half a season, depending, like Deshaun Watson was. And then if he was, I think it's going to be determined if he's going to get indicted in the court cases. In Deshaun Watson's case, he settled out of court. Justin Tucker could still do that. If he does, he will probably only get a half a season suspension, and then another team can pick him up just in time for this playoff drive. Or he will be suspended for a full season if he gets these indictments and stuff like that. And then next year, a team who might be in need for a kicker, an old kicker or whatever, and he's paid his price, stuff like that, might take a flyer on him. We'll see what happens. So he's probably not going to be – he's only got a couple more years left in him, but he could be helpful down the line for somebody. So we'll see what happens with that. Graham McTavish is set to star in Neil Marshall's new film, which is actually a survival film. So that's interesting. We got our first look at the Diablo trailer. Scott Adkins plays protects a mob kingpin's daughter from assassins. We got our first look at a Squid Game Season 3 teaser trailer. We'll probably get the full trailer during Tadom, which is May 31st. And Season 2... Oh, the Season 2 of The Terminal List has started production. That's the Chris Pratt series for Amazon based on the popular novels. So before we do our final two stories of the week, anniversaries this week. Gladiator debuted 25 years ago this week. The Mummy Returns debuted 24 years ago this week. And The Avengers debuted 13 years ago this week. I remember that distinctly. 13 years ago, I went to White Marsh Theater on a Thursday the day before it came out in the movie theaters, and I bought the ticket for the special event. The White Marsh Movie Theater showed all the MCU movies leading up to the Avengers. At that time, it was Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America. So there's only 5. So they played them at the movie theater, and they had little breaks in between, and it led up to the midnight showing of the Avengers. So we watched the Avengers afterwards. So we watched 6 movies in the movie theater. We had lanyards so we could walk in and out of the theater once they ended, because once the movie ended, we had like a half hour to go to the bathroom, get something to eat, sleep, whatever we wanted to do. Before the next movie came on. So that was kind of fun to do that. And I always remember that. I got home like at like 2 a.m. After all this. And that's why Avengers is still one of my favorite movies of all time. And a death, Denise Alexander, a General Hospital actress who played the character Leslie Weber, passed away at the age of 85. All right, my final 2 stories of the year of this week's episode are baseball related. The Tampa Bay Rays, I think something happened to their stadium. It got damaged in a hurricane or one of the winter storms that came through, whatever. So they damaged it, and they're supposed to be building a new one. So I think they're tearing it down. They're going to build a new one. So the Rays have to play in other at different stadiums in Tampa. I guess there's like colleges down there. They're playing at their fields. And so they're outdoor stadiums. So the Tampa Bay Rays stadium was a dome stadium because it rains all the time down there. So they get their games in. But now they have to play outside. Tampa Bay Rays had their first ever rain delay because they were playing outside in 27 years of their existence. So that was kind of an interesting sort of story. But even more interesting story is the New York Mets, who are one of the hottest teams right now in baseball. But they have a very unusual stat. And I don't know how people discovered this, because it is such an unusual stat that it's like, where the hell did you pull this out of your ass? The New York Mets have lost the 34th game of their season for 17 straight years, including this year. They lost their 34th game of the year this year, part of a doubleheader, and they lost the first one and won the second one, which is the 35th game. But for 17 straight years, their 34th game of the season, they've always lost. 17 straight years. It's such a random 34th game of the season. How did you even discover that? But it's true. They went back and they took a look at the schedule for the last like 20 years or whatever, and saw that for 16 and now 17 straight years, they've lost the 34th game of their season. I don't know what to say to that. All right, that's it for this week. Next week, my wife and son are going to Conclave, not the one in Rome. That's already done. This is an OA Scout thing. My daughter was supposed to go, so I thought I was going to be home alone, but I'm not. She actually got asked to her high school prom by a friend of hers, so they're going to go do that next Saturday. So she will not be going up to Conclave, and my wife will go up Friday night and then leave around noon from camp and come back down here and help my daughter with her hair and makeup and stuff like that for the prom. And then my wife is just going to stay here instead of driving all the way back up and then coming back down and then taking my daughter and driving her back up on Sunday, because her friend Shenandoah is doing one of her last ever scout things next Sunday. And Noelle wants to be there my daughter wants to be there for that. So instead, my wife has decided she will drive up on Friday, because she has to drive some of the scouts up there, including my son. And then she'll camp with them. And then she will drive back home Saturday at noon, and then get my daughter all dolled up. And then she'll sleep here at the house. And then she'll take my daughter back up to Conclave on Sunday, and then do the thing with her friend, and then pick up my son and bring anybody else home, and they'll come home on Sunday. So that's how that's going to work. So we'll see what happens. Other than that, I got nothing but shitty work that I have to deal with, and nothing really exciting coming up. So we'll see what happens. All right, I am going to be leaving the stream. Happy Mother's Day, y'all.